Welcome to Kevin Deal Photography, where I take you on my journey through photography. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the latest 100-watt LED RGB light from Talifo. I'm pleased to announce the release of my Capture One and Lightroom presets, Metamorphic Portraits, The Sound of Silver, and Rangefinder. These are all available for purchase at my website. Go to kevindealphotography.com or check out a link in the description below. And now, on to today's episode. Welcome to today's episode. If you're not familiar with Kevin Deal Photography, we do gear reviews, tips, techniques, and tutorials, and sometimes we dive into film. If any of that sounds appealing to you, click the subscribe button below. So Talifo reached out to me to review the Palm LED PL100 RGB light. I've done many bi-color light reviews lately, so it was the fact that this was an RGB fixture that made me say yes. And while I am grateful for the test unit provided to me by Talifo, I'm gonna be honest with you about what I like and don't like about this unit. My first impression, taking a look at it, is that it's quite small and it appears to be very bright. It also has a familiar look to it, which we will tackle later in this video. But first, let's go over the specs. The Talifo Palm Light PL100 RGB video light is a maximum power 100-watt LED light. It has a CRI of 97+. It has a color temperature range of 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. It comes with 20 built-in lighting effects and is compatible with the free Link Light app, which you can find at all major app stores. It boasts 66 minutes of battery life at 100%, which drops to 45 minutes in max mode and can be fully charged on a USB-C port in just 2.5 hours. Its dimensions are 5.7 by 3.39 by 3.84 inches or 144 by 86 by 97 millimeters, and it comes in at a street price of $199 US. Those no doubt are impressive features on paper, but let's take this guy out into the field and see how it works in a real-world environment. The RGB of the Talifo gave me some great creative possibilities. I wanted this particular shoot to have some color to it, not just be white to illuminate the subject. And as you can see right here, I dialed in kind of this blueberry-ish color, and I feel like it made this shoot pop and be a little bit more interesting. So as you can see from the examples that I shared both on location and in the studio, the Palm 100 from Talifo delivers. But let's take this guy into a more harsh environment. Let's take him into the high noon sun, the 100-degree heat, and let's also test out the Link Light app. All right, so you saw me do a creative shoot where I was using this light in HSI or RGB mode or CCT mode, and I do apologize about the cicadas that you hear, but it's the middle of the summer and I wanted to show off the power of this light in daylight. Right now you are looking at 3 p.m., so it is a full blast sunshine kind of day. I have this guy at 5600 Kelvin right now at 100% power with the dome diffuser on, and I'm about 3 feet away, and I'm using a 35mm focal length lens on my Canon R5. And the reason why all that is significant is because you probably want to know how much you can get away with as far as the distance of the light to your subject. So as I back up, you'll see it fall off at that distance. So 35 is roughly the tightest shot you can probably get. If you went to 50, it would kind of look more like this. You might be able to get away with 50 with this particular, this light at 100% with the dome diffuser on. But I'm also going to show you how to use the free app that they give you. And by the way, this is what it looks like with no light. So you can see what this shot would look like if I don't want my background to be completely blown out. I have to have a light to compensate to light me up to kind of help compress that dynamic range. So let's pull this guy back up. As I said, we are in the white or the CCT mode. And if we were doing this shot not in the middle of the day, maybe we wanted to do it at sunset or sunrise, you can see that it's a little bit warmer of a color temperature. Or maybe it was an overcast day, we could take this all the way up and I would be a little bit more on the cool side. There's also a magenta green balance on this, which is really cool. It seems to be rather subtle. I'm gonna go ahead and put this guy right back at 5600 Kelvin. I did say that I am shooting with this guy at 100%, and that is significant to know because in my climate controlled studio, I was able to get about an hour and 10 minutes out of this guy. So I don't know what the published specs are. I'm sure I put them somewhere in the video, but an hour 10 in ideal conditions is what you can get out of this guy. It's 100 degrees today for all of you out in Europe and the rest of the world. That's about 37 degrees Celsius. And with the heat coming off of this concrete, it's probably pushing more like 40 degrees Celsius. So I would imagine you're gonna get less than an hour and 10 minutes out of this guy in conditions like you see right here. Now, looking at the app, we are in the white or the CCT mode. You can, as you see this plus icon, if you scroll to like, I don't know, 4200, maybe I like the way 4200 looks. If I hit the plus, it'll save it as a preset, which is really cool. I wanna take it back to 5600 though, because that's the way I want it to look. But that's how the white mode works. And when you go over to the next tab, you are in color mode. Now it starts with a 29% intensity, so I have to turn that up to get it to be about as bright as it was as I move this hue around. You should be able to see, well, I'll tell you what, it's not quite as bright when it's in HSI mode, so I'm actually going to take off the dome diffuser. Now I'm gonna be way oversaturated. And by the way, you should take this dome diffuser with you everywhere because it just crunches up and fits right in your bag. I'm gonna pull the intensity down to about 50%. You should still be able to see that we are at a pink hue right now. And as I move this across the color wheel, you will see it change. So you can actually do HSI in a situation in broad daylight like you're seeing right now if you take somebody into the shade, which is pretty cool. They also have yellow and just your standard colors, cyan, magenta, violet, and all that. And of course you can control your saturation. So if maybe you want things to be on this orangish reddish, but you want to turn the saturation down, you can, or you can have it, blow the face out, whatever you want to do there. So that's the color or the HSI mode. The next tab is your gels. They have Lee and Roscoe gels. These are all common gels that are used throughout the industry. If you know what they are, you probably like these, but if you don't know what they are, they could give you some nice creative gel looks. So you do want to try those out. And then there's effects like you get with all these LED lights. I'm not going to go through them all, but you have pulse and you have party and you have SOS and all these other effects that they have. And some of them are RGB, which is pretty cool. So that's the main gist of how you use the app as far as the light control. I'm going to put it back over into the CCT mode. And as you can see, I'm blowing out. I'm going to take this down to like 20%. Yeah. So even at like 3 feet, 20% is really bright. I could probably, if I took this thing all the way up to 100%, now I'm about, I would say I'm about 8 feet away now. And this still looks like a pretty good shot at 8 feet. And then as I get closer, it gets brighter. So about 1 to 3 meters is what you can get out of this guy, or 3 to 9 feet without the dome diffuser. And then with the dome diffuser, in a situation like this, you're probably looking at 3 to 5 feet at most. So that's really how that works. The only other thing you need to know about the app is that you can turn the light on and off with this green button, which is cool. You can add fixtures as well. So if you hit this plus icon, you can add devices. So if you own another one of these devices or another one of the Talifo devices, because it's not just this model of light is recognized under this app, you can get a lot of different models that they make and put together a system, and they all work with the app and they're all compatible. You can also create a scene. So if you have multiples of these lights, you can hit a button and Some can turn on at particular percentages or a particular color temperature. Maybe one is going to be RGB if it's lighting up an accent behind you. So there are a lot of really cool things you can do with this app. It's free at all app stores. But let's go back to my studio because I want to talk to you about what I like and what I don't like about this light. But first, let's just see how accurate the colors look on my skin in a studio environment. Okay, so as you can see right here, I have the Talifo light on. I'm going to move back a little bit. You can see a little bit of flare, so I'm going to turn the lens a little bit this way. I have it like 1.5 feet at most from my face. You probably want to purchase a Bowens adapter, and you probably want to, of course, purchase a second light as well, because here's my fill light. And boy, when you couple it with a fill light, it looks a lot less moody and a little bit more proper for something like studio use that you see here from my YouTube studio. Now, I'm going to turn him off for a second, and I'm just going to compare him to my lights that I normally use. So key light is off, and I'm going to just show you what the other light looks like now, and there you go. So I think it does a pretty good job as a key light when coupled with a second light. And if you do want to soften it beyond the dome diffuser, I do recommend you purchase that optional accessory that allows you to convert the mini Bowens mount to a full-size Bowens mount. So let me tell you what I like and don't like about this Talifo Palm light. So now that I've had a chance to use this Talifo Palm Light 100 out in the field, what are my thoughts? Let's talk about the pros and cons of this unit. The first pro I would like to talk about is that it's light and relatively small. It's smaller than the majority of the LED lights I've tested out on this channel, so that makes it more likely that you'll find yourself taking it out on shoots. Another pro of this light is that it's incredibly bright. As you saw from my demonstrations outdoors, it is bright enough to use at high noon on a sunny day when you're in the shade. And frankly, that's the bar I would expect it to clear, and it did. The included dome diffuser did an acceptable job of softening the light, which comes in handy for those of you who don't want to have the harsh light of the reflector. I also love the fact that the dome diffuser can be folded up and stored pretty much anywhere in your bag. Additionally, with the purchase of an adapter, you can expand your modification options by changing this mini Bowens mount to a full-size Bowens mount, thus exponentially enhancing your modification options. The light does not get too hot. In my example where I use the light in 100+ degree weather at 100% power outdoors, the very first thing I did after about 30 minutes of use is I put my hand on it. The light was warm to the touch, but not hot to the touch. That means the operating temperature of this light and its venting and cooling abilities in real-world environments is exceptional. I like the fact that this light uses USB-C to power it. I'm not a fan of proprietary power supplies because they can get lost. Most of us have access to USB-C ports and thus USB-C cables. So chances are if you lose the included cable, you can still charge this light with another USB-C cable you already have laying around. It's RGB. Most lights I see like this are only bicolor, so it's welcome to see an HSI color wheel as well as gel options included with this light. I found that other companies that have bicolor lights are generous enough to sometimes include gels to make the lights different colors. But because this fixture is RGB, you not only have access to thousands of colors, but you also have access to specific emulations of Lee and Roscoe gels, which makes this light have a clear creative advantage over its bicolor-only counterparts. It not only comes with a paper manual for the light, but it also comes with a paper manual for the app. I can't tell you how many times on this channel a manufacturer sends me a light and then I have to go to the App Store and figure out the name of the app because they didn't even bother to include it in the documentation. Speaking of the app, I found it easy to use and easy to set up. Outside of some dropouts that I experienced in the field when I was in some questionable wireless areas where I couldn't establish connections with cell phone towers, the app has worked pretty well overall. While this light is small and easy enough to fit in your bag, Talifo was still kind enough to provide a hard case with a zipper. So for those of you who want upgraded protection for your light, I'm happy to report that the Palm LED 100 RGB comes with that standard. For shorter shoots, say anything under an hour, I find that the internal battery is robust enough for you to use this fixture at full power. When I make videos for this YouTube channel, I rarely need my light to last longer than 30 to 45 minutes, so this light is perfectly acceptable for that. But like everything I review on this channel, this product is not perfect, so we are going to discuss the areas where I feel this fixture falls short of expectations. The handle is cheaply made. While I think the fixture itself is of acceptable quality and somewhat robust, I don't feel like the handle matches it in quality. This handle to me is cheaply made, and I wish it were more durable. This item did not ship with a mini to full-size Bowens mount adapter, which I found out was sold separately. I personally think it should have been included for free, but that's okay, I'll just go grab an umbrella. But wait, now to an even bigger con. There's not a hole on the fixture or on the handle to put an umbrella through. That means that if you want to use anything beyond the included reflector or dome diffuser, you're gonna have to purchase an accessory, and frankly, for speed, I'd rather that accessory be an umbrella, which this isn't compatible with in the first place. While it markets itself as a 100-watt light, its base operation is a common 60 watts, where I get about an hour out of the fixture. If you use this light in max mode, that time is going to be significantly reduced to 45 minutes, which may or may not be a big deal to you. From a subjective and an ethical standpoint, there are over 10 million colors they could have chosen from to design the outside of this unit. But when you look at this fixture, it's the exact same color, full leather scheme, and vent configuration as the more expensive Hobolight Avant. And I feel like that design cue is a bit misleading because I don't think these lights are in the same category as each other. There are areas where the Hobolight is objectively a better fixture, mainly in terms of its modular design of both accessories and power delivery. The Hobolight Avant is a bi-color only design, and that's all it's designed to do. Whereas this Talifo is an RGB fixture, and it's not modular when it comes to power delivery options, and its interchangeability of accessories is more limited. Simply put, these lights aren't really designed to do the same thing. So by heavily borrowing these design cues, the Talifo inserts an unnecessary comparison between both lights that shouldn't exist in the first place. I think this light could have stood on its own and didn't need to ride on the coattails of the aesthetics of another brand to make itself known. Instead, now it's standing out for the wrong reasons. So what is my summary of this light? If you need a robust, bright, creative, and compact fixture for less than $200, this Palmlight PL100 RGB is an excellent value. And if purchasing the optional full-size Bowens mount isn't that big of a deal to you, your options on how to modify this light become greater. As long as the cons I highlighted in this video don't pertain to you, I say buy with confidence, although next time, I hope they could make it a little bit more original in terms of aesthetics. That does it for today's episode. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching today. Do you like what you saw today? Tell me about it in the comments below. Do you own this Talifo light? Tell me about that in the comments below. And if you like this channel, I humbly ask you to click the subscribe button below. And if you are interested in purchasing my presets for both Capture One and Lightroom, I left a link for those also in the description below. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.